Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, as per your respective time zone. On behalf of entire managed services team, we'd like to welcome you all to this 22D Talent and OLC advisory webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and functionalities as a part of this quarter release which Oracle provides. My name is Hardik Patel and I'm an operations manager here at Mastek Managed Services team. Today, I'm your host for this session. I'm glad to introduce my colleague, Mohtasim, who's part of our vast HCM team at Mastek. Before we move to today's agenda, let's have a quickly look at the important disclaimer. To keep you in sync, we will have session length around 45 to 60 minutes, and we'll also make sure that to spare some time to answer all your questions you may have. We also have our senior colleague, Saurabh Sonkoshri, available as a panelist with us. So if you have any questions, you can ask through chat or question panel today. So today, Mohtasim is going to take us through all the talent management OLC updates for 22C quarter release. Would like to convey your approach towards Oracle updates in a very simple method. We'll be taking you through vital analysis for the 22D updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into your system. Also, we'll sync you on any bugs or known issues there if there are any today. It's good to have an interactive session, so please do ask questions as mentioned earlier in chat or question panel. In case we're out of time, we'll also reach you at a later stage and answer any of the questions you may have without fail. This is to give you a glimpse on how we have created the structure of this session. So the first thing what you see is list of new features coming into 22D. Next one is detailing on the features, so you get brief understanding on what new features are all about. And next one is what are the business benefits, an important takeaway for you as a decision maker. There are 4 components where we have done in-depth analysis of the features which we're going to present to you today. The first one is going to be impact level analysis, which demonstrate the impact on the end user. If it's a low impact, then regression testing can be avoided or not. If it's a high impact, then we need to offer regression testing. Second one, which is we all are aware that there are some features which are by default auto-enabled by Oracle, and there are some which we need to opt for. In the third one, highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configuration which may be required and some can be used without any changes. In the last one, which is a quick win, this term we simply use to convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time at what requires significant amount of time and efforts to make use of this feature. We won't take much time of yours. Before I pass it to my colleague, would like to do the quick poll on the screen, and where I would like to note down which industry does your organization belongs to, please, with the quick clicks on the screen, please. This may help us crafting a bit more fruitful webinar content going forward. We'll appreciate a quick selection on the screen, please. Thank you so much. And we'll be closing the poll now in like 5 seconds time, and then Mohtasim, my colleague, would unmute himself and begin for today's session on Talent and OLC. Yeah, I've closed the poll, and now Mohtasim, you can unmute yourself, and the stage is all yours, my friend. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Hardik, and hi again. Hi everyone. Thank you for your time again. To attend this session where we want to tell you about the new features which has come in for the Oracle 22D release features for Talent and Oracle Learning Cloud. Now, as you are aware that with every quarter we get new updates from Oracle, which is their standard practice to always enhance the product. Hence, it is imperative to be up to date with the new features which are coming in, because that can actually help us achieve some of the business requirements, which in the past we might not have been able to, right? As well as it gives us an idea how we can improve our businesses based on the new feature which Oracle has released, because Oracle releases this feature by studying the market globally and not only to a particular country or a particular state or county. They have their research team which studies the global market. And based on the inputs that they have received, especially on the customer connect, hence, once you are aware about all these new features, it gives you the opportunity to maybe improve your business processes based on something which Oracle has done. Having said that, what I would like to do now is, first of all, just tell you that the amount of features which Oracle has given for the talent management and learning side of things. So overall, we have found out there are 25 new features which has come in. And out of this 25 new features, some of them are quick wins and are default, and some of them would require a certain amount of testing, as it was explained previously by Harvey. So with that idea, let us now jump into the new features which has been delivered by Oracle and which we have identified to be quick wins and they do not require any kind of configurations. So when we say there is no configuration, we need to understand that there would be no amount of configuration activity spent either by your system administrator team or by the EVOSys support team or by the EVOSys implementation team, which you are dealing with day in and day out. These things are already enabled as soon as you would be upgraded to 22D, which might be sometime in the future, right? So the first feature which I would like to talk about is the delivered notifications for talent management. Now, for everyone who is a part of talent management implementation or as part of the maintenance activity at your business site, you would be aware there are a lot of notifications which fires when the talent management cycle is in place, be it when you are assigning a goal, be it when you are trying to delete a goal, when you are assigning a performance cycle to an employee, when the performance document is completed from the employee as part of his self-evaluation, when the manager completes the evaluation, and so on. So there is a huge number of notifications which are triggered from the Oracle system itself. What Oracle has now done is the content of those notifications is now visible in the UI itself. Previously, to understand what those notifications are, we had to go to either the alert composer or we had to go to the technical report area to identify what is the content of the notification which is being triggered. Instead of that, now the administrators of the system can actually see the content of all those notifications from the UI itself. Hence, if you are in your implementation cycle, or for that matter, even if you are in your maintenance phase of the product, now you would be able to see what message is going to be triggered out, and that gives you an opportunity to take quick decisions with respect to if you want to modify those messages. So very handy feature, right, which has been given by Oracle, which makes life for all of us that much easier. And as you can see on the right, impact level is low because it is just enabling those notification visibility in the system, and it's definitely a quick win without any configuration or the need to enable them in the system. Moving on, the second feature is with respect to question versions. So we know that we are able to create questions in the system, right? But a business is always dynamic in nature, which means a set of questions which has been defined today can very well be modified in the future. Now, when we used to do that, we either used to create a new question completely or we used to modify the version number of that particular question. Now, in the second case, when we used to modify the version number of the question, it was not correctly reflected in the existing questionnaire where it was used. But now what Oracle has done is if you modify the question using updating the version number, you would be able to see what version number of the question is actually being used either in your current questionnaire or in a new questionnaire that you are going to create in the future. So you would be able to understand if you are using the latest version of the question or not. That also helps you identify if there is an outdated version of the question in your existing questionnaire. You can basically remove that and use the latest version in your question. So again, a very simple enhancement which Oracle has given us. As we can see, the impact level is low because it is just a matter of identifying what is the version number in the front end. And since we do not need to enable this, or we do not need to spend additional time in configuring this in the system, it definitely qualifies as a quick win in our perspective. Right, and this is for all the questions. So in talent management, we have questions for feedback, we have questions for performance management, for checking documents, and there are so many different questions where can be configured, but this feature is available for all of them. Moving on, we have now something called as human resources shared goals. Now this is interesting because previously it was only the line manager who was able to share their own set of goals with their team members. And if you are already using talent management, you would be aware that once this goal has been shared by the manager, it gives the opportunity to the team members to align their own goals with the manager's goal, as well as add those shared goals as part of their own performance goals. So that was only restricted to the line manager. But now, even the HR specialist would be able to share a common set of goals with a group of employees. Previously, how this was handled was we used to create goal plans, and we used to add goals within those goal plans when the goal plan was being assigned to a group of employees, right? But now, even after that step is completed, let's say in the mid of the year, the management decides that we need to add certain goals which is applicable to all the employees in the organization. So instead of asking each of the managers to share those goals, what the HR can do now is they can go create those set of common goals and then mass share them to all the employees. Now this will reduce the effort that is needed to coordinate with multiple line managers, and also a follow-up which needs to be done with all those numerous line managers if they have shared the goals or not, because now the HR specialist can directly share the goal with all of the employees. And as you can see on the screen, it is visible in the same area from the employee's perspective, but the employee will also very well be able to differentiate that where was this goal shared from, because in the shared pie, they would be able to see the name of the HR specialist instead of the line manager. So a very handy feature, right, which is going to ease the task of the admins at all the businesses that you are doing. So it does not require any enablement. It doesn't require any additional configuration for this particular feature. Hence, it definitely qualifies as a quick win. Okay. And again, the impact level has been kept as low because this feature is supposed to work in a defined manner, and there is nothing complex, nothing regression testing which needs to be done. Moving on, we move on to the succession planning area as well as the talent pool area. Now, when we used to create succession plans in talent pools currently, we could simply add the members there for talent pools, and we could add the candidates in the succession plans. And now, based on the business that you are in, this list could be really huge, right? We could have maybe 20, 30, 40 people as part of the talent pools, especially if you are creating a talent pool for the new set of employees who are joining the organization. So a lot of organizations practice that whenever there is a batch of employees joining the organization, they create a talent pool of maybe almost 40, 50 new joinees. They assign them goals directly from within the talent pool because that makes their life that much easier. But what happens is to find any specific person within that talent pool, you would have to scroll down to the list and identify that particular member. The same thing happened for succession planning as well. So far, when you used to create a succession plan, and if you had added maybe more number of people as candidate for the succession plan, it becomes that much difficult to find that particular candidate that you are interested in. So what Oracle has done now is they have given us a handy feature to search the candidates in the succession plan and the members in the talent pool. So by simply typing in the name, you would be able to find the candidate or the talent pool member you are interested in, and you would be able to act on them. So for succession management, maybe you can change the readiness level. And for talent pool members, maybe you can add a specific poll to that particular member only, or maybe, you can remove that particular talent pool member, or in succession plan, you could remove that particular candidate, right? So very handy feature. It is going to reduce the time and effort that you spend finding that particular candidate or member. Again, definitely a quick win because it is going to be there by default. We don't need to spend much time in configuring this or anything. Okay, moving on. Again, a very handy feature, right? This is the candidate since or the member since feature, which Oracle has brought in again for succession plans and talent. Now, what does this mean? So let's say you create a succession plan today, right, which is 6th of October, and you add 4 members to that succession plan. Next week, you add more people to the same succession plan. Now, because of this new feature, you would be able to identify which were the 4 people who were added to the pool on 6th of October and which were the other people which were added maybe next week, right? This would make it much easier for you to keep a track who are the people who have been a part of the succession plan or the talent pool since a long time. And how is this used in a business or in a real-time scenario? If a person has spent more time in a succession plan, then maybe they are more suitable to occupy that position for that particular succession plan, right? If for that matter, let's say I have been part of a succession plan for 6 months, and maybe somebody else has been part of the same succession plan for maybe only 2 months, there is a high probability that I am a better prepared candidate to occupy that particular position for which the succession plan was created, right? And also this is going to be available for your reporting purposes. So in the back end, what Oracle has now done is they have created this particular column which can be used to create your technical reports, right? So it's very easy now for you as administrators or as business owners to identify which are the people who have been part of the succession plan or a talent pool for the longest time. And Oracle has also given that sort by filters as part of this release. Moving on to learn management now. So Oracle and Microsoft have gone into a deal some months back, right? Wherein both of these tech giants wanted to, take advantage of their individual products which are there, right? Now we are trying to see the result of all those deals that Oracle and Microsoft have done few months back. So we are aware about the Microsoft Teams, which is available, as a tool to interact with people and also as an opportunity to conduct our virtual classes. Now, what has happened is if you have this integration in place, wherein you are using Microsoft Teams as one of your virtual classes providers, what will happen is the attendance report will automatically be fetched from Microsoft Teams and it is going to be available in your learn management area. So as part of your instructor-led activity, which you will configure in the system, which is going to be a virtual class, once you run the schedule process, Oracle Fusion System is automatically going to fetch a report of all the people who had attended that seminar in Microsoft Teams, and it is going to be available in that activities area as an attachment, as you can see on the screen over here. Let me just try to highlight that with this pointer, right? So in the activities, in the administrators, it is going to be right. This is a great functionality because now you don't need to go in to Microsoft Teams area, get the report, and again come back to Oracle Fusion and upload that as a proof. It is going to be handled automatically, right? So a quick win because no configuration and nothing to enable, but a very handy feature given by Oracle. Moving on with more learn management features. So this is to do with the line manager's view, which is there in the system. So previously there were a few options by which the line manager was able to filter the results for the team members. For example, they wanted to see what kind of learning the team member has done in the last 1 month, maybe 1 year, and so on. So what Oracle has done now is they have given more options there, giving the line manager more flexibility to see the kind of learnings which have been either been started, completed by the team members beyond 30 days. So previously it was restricted to 30 days, but now Oracle is saying that there are more filters for the line manager. Hence, the work for the line manager is going to be a bit more easier as far as keeping a track of how the team is progressing with their own set of learning. Again, no configuration, nothing to enable, hence a quick win for us. Moving on, again, the quick wins, right, which are already there but might need some kind of configuration to be done so that we can take advantage of those features. So now talking about celebrations here. Celebrations is actually now a part of Oracle Touchpoints. And amusingly, Touchpoint is something that I'm going to touch upon later in this session. But celebrations is part of the Oracle Touchpoint features or functionality, which it is going to release from 22D onwards. So at a high level, what I can tell you is Touchpoint or the celebration features within Touchpoint will allow the line managers, or for that matter, it will allow the employees to send, let's say, birthday wishes, or maybe if somebody is having their anniversary in the organization, it will allow people to share that with their colleagues, with their team members, with the line managers, and so on. The entire idea is to have more engagement within the team members, within the peers, within the colleagues from the system itself. So by using this celebration option, that would be achieved. And you can also define who are the people who can actually see this celebration. For example, if I, as an employee, am wishing one of my colleagues on his or her birthday, that birthday wish, will it be visible only to that employee? Will it be visible only to the employee and the line manager? Will it be visible to all the peers of that particular colleague, and so on? So you have a control about who are the people who would be able to see this celebrations feature. All right. So again, just keep in mind, celebration is a subset of the Oracle Touchpoints functionality, which has come in from 22D onwards, and the entire purpose is to have better engagement between the team members within the organization. You will need to decide what you want to enable in the system, and that is where the configuration aspect comes in. But it is definitely a quick win because it is simply a matter of checking some tick boxes, hence it qualifies as a quick win from our perspective. Moving on, the configurable business title switcher. This is something similar which came up back in 22C as well. What it allows us to do is it allows us to have the assignment details when you are searching for the employee. Now, this is a very common scenario, especially in the UK, wherein employees can have multiple assignments at the same time, right? So if you are as a line manager going to the performance area, and if you want to do the evaluation of your team member, you would be able to see both the assignments there, but it becomes very difficult to understand which assignment you are actually selecting as a line manager without having those additional assignment details on the screen. So now what Oracle has done is it has allowed us to enable those additional assignment features like the assignment number or the location, what is the assignment status, and so on. So when the line manager is on that page, and in those cases wherein there could be multiple assignments for the employee, the line manager has enough information to select the right assignment for which he wants to do the performance evaluation. This would need configuration from your HCM Design Studio. Hence, the configuration is marked as yes. It will not take a lot of time to do that configuration. Hence, we are marking this as a quick win. Ideally, we would recommend that this feature should be enabled, right? Especially for countries like UK, where multiple assignments is a very common feature in day-to-day. Okay. Moving on. Again, it's the same feature, which is the business titles feature in the evaluate performance page. So continuing with the last feature, for the line manager, it's a very handy tool to have, a handy information to have on the screen. So whenever they are on the performance evaluation for their team members, they are able to quickly identify which assignments evaluation they want to. Moving on, a very handy or a very powerful tool which Oracle has now given, which is the all-in-one evaluation. So what is this about? It's about making the life of line manager much, much, much easier. How is that achieved? So what Oracle has done is, instead of doing evaluation of the team members one by one, which is the case right now, Oracle has given an opportunity that evaluation for the entire team can be done from one place itself. So from the same screen, the manager would be able to provide evaluation for all the competencies for all the team members. The line manager would be able to provide this comments for different competencies, for different goals, for all the team members on the same screen itself. Give the ratings for the sections like competency sections or the goal sections. Give the comments for those sections, right? So all of the things which the line manager was doing one by one so far can now be done from the same page for all the team members. So you can imagine the impact this has as far as the time parameter is considered. So instead of doing it one by one, now the manager can do the evaluation for all the team members in one go. That is going to have a huge impact as far as time saving is concerned for the line manager, especially for those line managers who are handling a team which has more than maybe 5 or 10 people, right? And at the same go, once the line manager clicks on submit, all the evaluations, manager evaluation for all those team members would be submitted in one go. Now, when you are submitting this, what can happen is maybe the system is giving you a warning signal that for some of the sections you have forgotten to add your comment. The line manager can simply go to those individual sections for that particular employee and then add those comments, or the line manager can choose to ignore that warning message and proceed with the submission of the performance document everyone. It again depends on how you have configured the system, because some of the business prefers to have a warning message, whereas some of the organization prefer to have a hard stop that you cannot proceed until you have given comments for each of the sections or each of the individual objects. So based on what configuration you have done, the system is going to give you a pop-up message, and as a line manager, you would be able to determine and address those specific instances, right? So it has a huge impact level, as I was explaining before, because it can actually save a huge amount of time for line managers. Yes, it will require some kind of configuration, but that configuration is only about enabling those pages or giving those additional privileges to the roles for line manager. You don't need to create the entire performance document or performance cycle again. That is already configured. You just need to enable the page and maybe you could do a modification to the line manager role. Hence, the amount of time that will actually go into the configuration is quite less. That's why we define this as a quick win, but the impact level is definitely high. And personally, I think I would recommend that this feature should be enabled so that the line manager is actually able to do the evaluation for their team members and save a lot of time for their day-to-day activities. Right, so great feature which I see now been given by Oracle. Moving on, Oracle has now given the option for additional comments. What I mean by that is, so you have multiple choice questions or single choice questions as part of your questionnaires. What Oracle allows you now is you can ask for additional comments why that option was chosen either in the MCQ or the single choice questions, right? So whenever somebody is giving a feedback, Oracle will allow you to capture those additional comments why that particular option was chosen. The configuration is more towards the question that would be configured in the question library area. So you would need to decide, do you want to configure such questions, right? But again, configuring questions is not a time-intensive activity, so it qualifies as a quick win from our perspective, right? So those were all the aspects where it were quick wins, and we needed some kind of configuration for that. Moving on, now we are going to talk about quick wins and opt-ins, which means they will need to be enabled in the system, and there could be configuration or there could not be a configuration based on the individual features. So the first point that I would talk about is within the goal management area, giving the ability to the line managers to delete the HR assigned goals, right? So we just talked about the HR's ability to mass share the goals. Before that, what used to happen was the HR used to assign goals directly to the group of employees within the organization. But once that was done, it was only the HR who had the ability to delete that goals of a particular employee, which means if something was incorrectly attached to any employee, the HR had to intervene. Now, what Oracle has done is they have brought in a new checkbox, which basically, if it is check mark, it will allow the managers to delete the goal which was assigned by the HR. Please keep in mind, the employees again are not able to delete the performance goals which have been assigned by the HR, but now the employees can reach out to their managers instead of reaching out to the HR specialists, right? So because we need to enable it from the checkbox, it is marked as yes for need to enable, and it's not going to take a lot of time to do this, hence it is a quick win in our perspective. Moving on, certain development goal notifications, right? So when we are actually configuring the system, we get into a lot of discussion what kind of notifications you want to keep in the system. So now Oracle has actually given 4 new notifications, but from career development goals perspective, which are if any of the goals which have been assigned by the, let's say, HR, and if they are deleted by the manager or by the employees, or they have been marked as inactive by the manager or the employee, then certain notifications are triggered to the HR specialist so that they are aware that the goals, the career development goals, which they had assigned to a particular employee, have now been inactivated or have been deleted, right? So it is simply a matter of going in to this notifications and then enabling them, right? Once you have done that, then this notifications are going to be triggered automatically. Hence, it is a quick win, and it does not require any additional configuration. We just need to go and enable them from the offerings area, right? For those people who are already into their maintenance aspect of the system, you have to go to the offerings area to enable this feature. Moving on to the feedback area. So whenever you request a feedback from your colleagues, from your peers, or you are genuinely giving the feedback in the first instance itself, you're not waiting for somebody, but if you feel that some of your peers and colleagues have done a good job, you go and provide them feedback. Feedback again is a very important aspect of the entire performance management because this can be used in your performance evaluation, and having that concrete evidence that somebody has appraised your work actually helps you in getting higher performance rating. Now, what is going to happen from this release onwards is you can actually allow the feedback that you have given to your team members to be visible by that particular person only, or by that person and the manager of that person, or by that person and the peers or colleagues of that person. So if I am giving, let's say, a positive feedback to, let's say, one of the payroll employees who had actually sat with me and helped me, with my deductions and earnings which I have got for the particular month, I can go and provide a feedback for that person, and I can also make it visible so that the entire team of that particular person is able to see the positive feedback that person has received. That actually goes down to encourage that employee, right? It gives that motivated feeling. So it again will need to be enabled right? That do you want to have such kind of options available to the employees when they're giving this feedback to their colleagues and peers? And since it is only a matter of choosing those check boxes, it is definitely passing as a quick win from our perspective. Moving on, this is more to do with the performance evaluation side of things. So some of the organizations, and again, in UK, I have noted that a lot of times there are organizations which have multiple managers for the same employee, and which we all would categorize as matrix managers. Now, matrix managers were categorized as participants when the performance evaluation was conducted, and the notifications were always flowing from, let's say, the employee and the line manager. There were no notification which were going to the matrix manager in the Oracle system until now. So what is going to change is, if you have matrix managers configured in the system, and if the matrix manager are part of your performance evaluation, as soon as the performance document or the performance evaluation for your annual cycle, or let's say for the midterm cycle, is created, not only the line manager and the employee will be notified, but the matrix manager will be notified also. So what is the benefit of this? As soon as the matrix managers are notified, they do not need to wait for the participant feedback task as part of the evaluation. They can directly start whatever task has been assigned to them. So from the first day itself, they would be able to provide their feedback as per the task which have been configured in your performance evaluations. So again, a very handy feature which Oracle has given. Obviously, you need to decide and choose to enable this feature based on if you have matrix manager at your organization or not, and based on, do you want the notification to go to them on the first day itself, or do you want to wait till you reach the managed participant feedback in your performance evaluation? And once that decisions have been taken, you can enable that. Hence, it qualifies as a quick win from our perspective. Moving on, the thank you requested feedback provider, right? So it's a very, let's say, friendly feature which Oracle has given us. So if somebody is giving you a feedback, now Oracle allows you to show gratitude for the feedback that you have received. So previously, as I was just explaining, that if I feel that some of the payroll team member has genuinely helped me to understand my deductions and earnings, I can give that person a positive feedback. Now that particular person, once they receive this feedback, can actually send me a thank you note, which is captured within the Oracle Fusion system itself. So it is just a gratitude mechanism which Oracle has brought into the system, but gratitude goes a long way, right? That is what I believe. So having this feature built in Oracle system is something that I am very happy about, because it just allows us to show the gratitude about any kind of feedback that we have received. You need to enable this feature before you can use this, because in the alert composer, Oracle has given a dedicated notification for this. So you will have to go in the alert composer and then decide to enable this feature. But again, for people who are already part of the implementation or are already in the part of, let's say, maintenance of the system, support of the system, they would know that enabling or disabling alert is not a time consuming activity. Hence, it qualifies as equipment from our perspective. Moving on, the rest of the features, which Oracle has given. So this could be like things, which have high impact, or, maybe we need to discuss on configuration enablement. So it's a combination of different things. So first of all, from learn management, Oracle has given, which is the new manager experience. So I will just go on to the next slide, just to give you a look and feel of how it is going to look in the 22D release. So previously, the manager had to actually search for the individual team members, and it was like a list which was populated with the names and the learning that person was undertaking at the moment. So if I used to filter on what are the current learnings which are ongoing for my team members, if I was doing 4 courses at a time, the manager would see my name 4 times against those 4 courses. Hence, the list was quite extensive and quite lengthy, right? So it was difficult to understand how many courses are being done by my team members. So instead of that, now Oracle has given like a snapshot of the team members and the kind of learnings that they are doing currently. So as you can see on the screen, this is the view of a line manager, and against every team member's name, the line manager is very quickly able to understand how many are required courses, how many are voluntary courses, how many of them are overdue already, right? So if you have required courses, you have a deadline also associated with them. So are there any overdue courses? As you can see, some have been marked as overdue. It also tells you how many of those courses are due within, let's say, 30 days and so on. So the information which is actually important for the line manager is available right in one screen at the same time. You don't need to go into individual team members to understand what is the current status of work, right? So this is the new manager experience, but there is a caveat to this, and that caveat is Oracle has given this in controlled availability. What I mean by that is this is not going to be rolled out for everyone. If we feel that this is a feature that we want to use because it is going to help us in our day-to-day business transactions, we have to raise a service request highlighting our use case to Oracle, and then Oracle will enable this feature for us. So please keep in mind, this is a very handy feature, but it has been released in controlled availability right now. So if you are interested, please start raising service requests and justifying why this is going to be a handy feature for you in your business activities, and then Oracle is going to enable this for you. Moving on, this is the autocomplete functionalities. So autocomplete actually allows us to do certain auto population of certain fields or certain validations of the transactions that we are trying to do. So what Oracle has done now is, if you are on your succession management pages, it has given certain more objects which can be used as part of your autocomplete rules. So a very simple example, let's say if you are creating a succession plan for a particular grade or a particular business unit, right? You would want that a certain DFF be automatically populated with the prefix of the business unit and the prefix of the grade, right? So if you want to have such kind of autocomplete rules, you can now configure, because now the business unit and the grade is available as the objects which can be used for succession planning autocomplete rules. So this has a high impact. Why? Because this will take some more amount of configuration and regression testing. This is not a very straightforward configuration to be done. So even after the configuration is done, it might take multiple iterations to achieve what you are expecting from the system. So this is something which can take more time. Hence, it is having high impact and more configuration from our perspective. Moving on, talent review print options. So if you are doing your talent review uh, meetings, and if you want to print the profiles, now you have a more extensive list of what are the individual sections which can be printed as part of that option, right? So obviously, it just requires us to enable this. There is some configuration which needs to be done at the talent review configuration template, but these are configurations or enabling which can be done rather quickly. Hence, it is a quick win from our perspective, but a very handy feature to have, for those people who like to have, let's say, a hard copy of the profiles, they would have now much more option which can be printed on the paper. Moving on to best successors, which is for succession plan. So again, this is very restricted to the people who are already using AI capabilities as part of their business, right? So the Oracle's AI feature actually finds the best suited people for the succession plans that you are creating. Previously, it used to just find the candidates. It did not have much more filter options, but now it has filter option based on the business unit, the grades, and the location. So if you are using this AI functionality, now it is going to make your life that much easier because you have certain filters which have been given by Oracle. The next feature is more of technical in nature. So there are extracts. This is more about when you want to extract a huge data from the system and give it for maybe integration or compliance perspective. So now the fields which are of the length 2000 and 4000 characters are also available to be pulled into those extracts. So this is more on the technical side of things. But just be aware that this feature is now available to be extracted and be given to any third parties for either compliance or for integration needs. Coming to touch points, right? So now this is a new feature which Oracle has given. The entire concept of Touchpoint is to have more engagement between the line managers, the employees, or within the employees and the colleagues and the peers. How does it do that? So we talked about these celebrations as a feature, in the beginning. So you can actually celebrate the birthday of a colleague or a team member, the anniversary of the team members or colleagues, right? So that could actually initiate an engagement with the people in the business. What Touchpoints also does is it allows you to create pulse surveys. Now, pulse surveys could be very quick questionnaires, which could be like 2 or 3 questionnaires, which are given to the employees at the beginning of every week, or maybe towards the end of every week, to just sense what kind of motivation level they are in at the moment. So again, an interaction which is going to happen between the manager and the employee indirectly in this particular example, but the manager would be able to sense what is the motivation of the team member. The touch point is also going to allow the manager to have information if there have been regular check-in meetings with the team members, yes or no. So for example, on this particular screen, you can see the check-ins over here. So the manager would be able to see how many check-ins have been completed and how many check-ins are pending for the team members for the particular month. And now, because this is available as a dashboard, the manager is very easily able to identify with which team member is he supposed to have the check-in kind of meeting. And the manager is also able to see how much interactive he is with the team members by looking at the dashboard over here. So you can see that the score is 6.85 compared to the organization, which is just 1.58. So the manager can actually take this as a positive point that the interaction between his team is much higher compared to the interaction with the other teams have within the organization, right? Not only this, the touchpoint functionality is also going to provide recommendations to the line manager as well as to the employees. The recommendations could be in the form of you need to have a check-in meeting, right? Because if there is a long time since the last check-in meeting has happened, the system is going to recommend this as an action to the line manager as well as to the employee. The system as part of the touch point will also tell the manager and the employee to have a meeting or a discussion with respect to the performance goals which have been not been started or which are nearing their due date, right? So now all these kind of important aspects would be visible to the line manager and to the employee within the touch points area of the Oracle system. And as I said, the entire objective of having this touch point is to have more engagement within the team members. This will require configuration. This will require you to enable those functionalities in terms of role customization, in terms of creating this pulse questionnaires, right? So this will require a lot of thought process of how this needs to be designed or how this needs to be configured. And after the configuration, a thorough testing is definitely required. Hence, this has a high impact. It needs to be enabled and it needs configuration. It's not a quick win for sure. You would need to spend some time to understand how to use this functionality to the best of your abilities and for your business. Moving on, there are certain new subscribers for which questions can be created. So I just talked about Touchpoints and the Pulse surveys which can be configured. So obviously to have those Pulse surveys, you need to create questions. So these are the new subscribers which you can use when you are creating questions. And Oracle now has one more, let's say, visibility option for multiple choice question or single choice question. So far, we had the radio buttons, we had, let's say, the drop down options. Now, there is one more format in which this can be displayed is the horizontal layout. So if you have, let's say, three options in the multiple choice or single choice question, they would be visible in a single line in a horizontal line, right? So it's just a change of how this option is going to be visible to the end user, right? But it definitely needs configuration to happen. And if you want to change your existing questionnaire with this kind of setup, it will take more time. Hence, we have marked this as high impact, and it's not a cooking question, right? So it's the same thing which is explained on this slide as well. Moving on to some of the features which Oracle has now removed. So it's mostly on the reporting side. So there are two slides on this aspect, and both of them talk about some of the dashboards or some of the reports which has been removed by Oracle. So from performance perspective, when the manager went into the my teams and for my organization area, previously they were able to see what is the target rating distribution for their own team member. So Oracle has decided to take away this functionality from 22D onwards. So if you are a business which is highly dependent on those functionalities, what we would advise is start creating a similar kind of report, and then you can use base customization and keep those sorry use those reports to be available to the line managers for their day-to-day activities. Moving on. Some more dashboards and reports which are going to be removed from 22D onwards. As Oracle has mentioned, it was communicated from 21A, right? So quite some time that Oracle had actually given to let's say the businesses to start creating their own set of reports because they were going to be stripped away. So from 22D, this is the list of all the reports which are going to be taken away. So again, a recommendation, if you are already using this and if your business is dependent on this, start creating OTBI analysis or dashboard, which are going to give you the same outcome for your business activities. That was all from my side, right? And if you have any question and answer, we can utilize the time that we have to answer them. And in those unfortunate cases where we are unable to answer the questions, we will definitely reach out to you, after this session so that your query is answered.
Thank you, Mortasim, for the wonderful insights today. Before we move to Q&A, we'd like to do a very quick poll wherein we'd like to note down your area of interest on the screen. If you can please help us, whether it's technology innovations, managed services, value-based analytics, or Glide 4.0. If you also need any help on any of these, you can also reach out to the support manager or service manager. Thank you so much. We'll be closing the poll. And we'll quickly check with the panelists, Saurabh, if there is any questions which needs to be discussed or needs to be answered over the voice.
Thank you for that. Means we have only two questions in the chat. I think we have answered both of them. There are no questions pending in the from the audience.
Through the chat or question panel, right? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
No worries then. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. So before you leave us, we would like to share with you that we'll be sending you the presentation along with the recording of this session, and which will be available to you in a couple of days' time at a single click from your email. Just a second. And also we'll be giving you the task scripts, which will also available from the same page. And just before you all leavers would like to also note down the overall experience on the scale of 1 to 5, please. So that based on your feedback, we can improve. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll be closing the poll, and we won't take more than 1 minute of yours. We'll just show you the upcoming sessions, and you can also ask your colleagues if they would like to be part of it. Multisim, can you? Oh yeah, sorry. So we have supply chain finance and supply chain inventory management, procurement, workforce management next week. We have project portfolio management we have next week. So any of your colleagues would like to be part of any of the sessions, more than happy, they can register. And if you also have any questions on the existing session or past sessions, you can you can reach out to the support manager or service manager if you need any of the quick session or something. We can more than happy to connect with you at a later stage. And that's about it. Again, to repeat again, we'll be sending you the presentation, PDF, and recording along with the test scripts of this session. And just a very, very last question, that if you could tell us that have you attended any of the previous sessions, please? That's the last poll from our side. Thank you so much. And then we'll close today's session. Okay, we'll be closing the poll now. And with this, we would like to thank you once again, everyone, for your valuable time today. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.